Today we are going to talk about breathing. And breathing on the oboe is a little bit different than pretty much every other instrument because of our reed. So I'm going to stand up so you can see my belly and we can talk about breathing as kind of a holistic thing. Today we are going to talk about breathing. And we actually don't even need an oboe for this. This kind of breathing exercise would work for any instrument. I will add in a few little extra things that will help out beginning oboe players, but breathing is something that we all need to do. So take a deep breath with me. Did you see how my shoulders raised and my chest went out? So that might be the kind of breathing that you feel when you're running or you're at a brisk walk and you're out of breath. So we actually want to breathe a lot deeper than that, and that means that we want to fill our bellies full of air. Did you know your lungs actually go like way down here, right above like your intestines, and they connect to, I want to say, is it the clavicle? One of these bones up here. So your lungs are really long. And so when we're breathing, we're only filling up this top half, not even top half of our lungs. So we want to fill further. So when you are taking a nice big breath, imagine that you are filling like a big air balloon and it's upside down, and that's what your belly is the top of the air balloon flipped upside down. Because we feel more down here, and then as it fills to the top, it feels like we can get less and less and less air in. And I guarantee you, if you take a big breath, you can actually keep going. And you can just keep breathing in because our lungs can expand to a crazy size. And the more that you practice that, the more expansion that you will in turn get. Okay, so breathe deep. Do not let your shoulders raise. If you have a buddy, a friend, a family member at home, make sure if that's happening, they can actually just kind of touch your shoulders or put a finger on your sternum. These are things that I do with my students, and that will make sure that it's much more difficult for you to raise your shoulders when you breathe. Another exercise that I like to do, which I have this pitched roof, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I will act like I am standing against the wall. My shoulders are touching the wall, and my heels are against the wall. And what this does is it just anchors your shoulders, so if they start to move, you can feel it against the wall. And I think that it also kind of just supports your back, so you can feel that breath a little bit lower. I like to do that against the wall. I like to also have my students lay on their back on the floor. It's the same exact thing, and you are fully pressed, right? The gravity is pushing you down, so it's pushing this part of your body down, and you can really feel that expansion in your belly. Okay, so one special detail that has to do with being an oboe player. Now you know what an oboe reed looks like, right? And you know how teeny tiny that little hole is. So when we take a big breath and expand and we blow through this hole, do you think we can get all of our air out? Probably not. So what happens is you are going to probably feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have any air inside me, and you're going to take another breath. Well, with the oboe, even though we still want that full big breath, because we need so much pressure to create the vibrations in the reed, we actually have to expel or exhale some of our air before we can keep playing. So rather than feeling like, I need more air, actually release the air and then breathe it in. So I oftentimes will write a breath mark. I write little V's for my breath marks, and I'll write an I on one side and an O, well, actually usually out and then in. It depends on where you're at in your piece of music, but that way I know, when I'm in a concert, I realize, okay, this is where I typically feel like I'm running out of air, but I actually have too much. And do you know what is inside of us that is causing that? So when we breathe out, what do we breathe out? Carbon dioxide. What are we breathing in? Oxygen. So what do you know about carbon dioxide? We have carbon monoxide detectors, right? So it's kind of similar in that our oxygen inside of us gets stagnant, I like to say. And so it's just kind of dead air that we don't need in our bodies, and we have to get out so we can get fresh oxygen back in our bodies. And so that's just a little extra tidbit that really has to do with oboe players. Okay, so another thing, we talked about lying on your back on the floor and filling your belly, right? Something that you can do is you can add a big school book on top of your belly and try to see how long you can keep it up and balanced so it doesn't fall over. You could even use your Barrett book for this because it's kind of big and wobbly, but if you have like a fat school book, that would work perfectly. And while you do that and you hold it up, sometimes I'll even play games like see how long I can hold it up there. And what that's doing is expanding your lungs probably further than you have done it regularly, but also it's going to build those muscles and kind of build up that diaphragm, which we haven't talked about yet. But that's another video that I'll do. You have this little kind of muscle that you can tighten, and that will actually help the air pressure. So those are my top exercises and what I like to talk to my students about in regards to breathing. If you have any questions, please leave them below. If you have any comments, and also I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel because I'm going to continue this beginner oboist series, and I'm going to add so many little fun things that I'm sure you're going to learn from your band director or in lessons, but they are very foundational aspects of playing the oboe. Thanks, and have a nice day.